Idea number one is to craft 60-second responses to the most frequently asked questions. So I imagine you're going to a meeting with other CEOs. I was just speaking at the Conscious Capitalism CEO Summit with John Mackey and with William Ury, the author of Getting to Yes and so forth. And what we talked about is that from now on, we're going to have a 60-second response to the question, so what do you do? We're going to have a 60-second response to, so tell me about that project you're working on. We're going to have a 60-second response to, tell me about yourself, etc. Because my mom used to say, whoever does the most talking has the most fun. The longer we go, the more confused they become. Talking long is a bore, snore, or chore. And if we take a 60-second response to an answer, guess what? We are creating a dialogue instead of a monologue. It's Amy Schumer said, I get a little itchy if I don't have some kind of control. Guess what? Most people get a little itchy if they don't have some kind of control. And if we talk for a long time, the other person is kind of being held hostage. So I'll give you a quick example of this, and then we're going to move on to some other ideas on hard conversations and high stakes situations. Is that, what do you say when people ask, what do you do? Do you tell them? From now on, don't tell them. Explanations are infobesity. So let me put you in the scene of what I mean. I had an opportunity to speak about this at Inc. 500. And so we are working on everyone's elevator speech. And of course, who likes to listen to a speech? So we're transforming an elevator speech into an elevator conversation. So here's Colleen, Entrepreneur of the Year for Oklahoma. I said, Colleen, what do you do? Wah, 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 wah. At the end of 60 seconds, no one in the room had any idea what she did, and she was the CEO. Now think of the lost opportunity cost. These are the top entrepreneurs in the country. They're not going to walk up to her in the hall and propose some type of partnership or continue the conversation because they don't know what she does. So I said, Colleen, tell me what you do that we can see, that we can smell, that we can taste, that we can touch. And she said something about MRIs and CAT scans. And I said, oh, do you run the medical facilities that offer MRIs and CAT scans? She said, yes. I said, don't tell people that. She said, don't tell people that, because if people ask, what do you do? And you say, I run the medical facilities that offer MRIs and CAT scans. What do they say? Oh, conversation over. We don't want to end the conversation. We want to open the conversation. So I said, ask a 3-part question. Do you know anyone, could be yourself, could be a friend, could be a family member who's had an MRI or a CAT scan? She said, Sam, what's this about a 3-part conversation? I said, because there's something called the evolution of intimacy. And if we just walk up to someone or being introduced to someone and we say, have you ever had an MRI? See, that's way too abrupt. It's back, way too personal. We're violating the evolution of intimacy. Do you see how when we give people options, do you know anyone, could be yourself, could be someone at work, could be a family member, we're giving them options. Look who's in control of the conversation at this point. They are, because they get to go where they want, and we are increasing the likelihood that they know someone who has experienced what we do, who is familiar with what we do, who has benefited from what we do. So, do you know anyone, could be yourself, a friend or family member, who has had an MRI or CAT scan? Then we put a sock in it. We listen to what they say. They may say, oh yeah, I haven't had one, but my daughter hurt her knee playing soccer. She's had one. Now we link what we do to what they just said. Oh, I run the medical facilities that offer MRIs and CAT scans like the one your daughter had, when she hurt her knee playing soccer. Look what happens. Oh, the eyebrows go up. I get it. I relate to it. I know someone who's benefited from it, all in 60 seconds, all in a dialogue instead of a monologue. So I think what I have is I have 4 minutes for each of my best practices here. So I think I have time for one more story to show how this works. Once again, I know that many of you are in high-level positions, so you're probably familiar with YPO, Young Presidents Organization. I was speaking in Dublin, Ireland for YPO, and a gentleman came up to me before the session and he said, Sam, I'm going to confess something to you. I don't tell many people. I'm an introvert. He said, I hate these things. I fly across a continent and an ocean, and then I hang out in my hotel room because I just don't like hall talk or small talk. Plus, what I do is so complicated. I can never explain it to people. It's so awkward. I just rather avoid it. And I said, can we play? And he said, sure. You know what's coming. I said, what do you do that we can see or smell or taste or touch? Now, the reason we do this, it turns rhetoric, blah, 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 platform, etc., jargon people cannot understand, confused. We lose them at hello. As soon as we get real world that they can see it, they've experienced it, etc., now they can already relate to it. So he said something about financial software, credit cards, computers, and my light bulb went off. I said, oh, do you make the software that makes it safe for us to buy things online? He said, yes. I said, don't tell people that. Instead, do you know anyone, could be yourself, could be a friend, could be someone at work who buys stuff online? I said, now, do you want to stack the deck that everyone you meet is going to be able to understand what you do in a way that is relevant to them? He said, is that a rhetorical question? I said, what are the 3 top online retailers right now? Well, at that time, it was Travelocity and eBay and Amazon. So you say, do you know anyone, could be yourself, a friend or family member, who buys stuff online, like on Amazon, eBay, or Travelocity? Do you see you just increase the likelihood you can go anywhere in the world with this type of intro that's a dialogue instead of a monologue? The light bulb's going to go on. They're going to know someone who is familiar with that, experience that, benefit from it. Now you link what you do to what they just said. You have something in common in the first 60 seconds. They understand what you do. You have a connection. You're probably off on a meaningful conversation. So that's one reason why having a 60-second answer to a frequently asked question that can turn a dialogue into a monologue is one way that we can make friends out of strangers.